Welcome, everybody, to the Wow podcast. I'm super excited to have Ty on with us today. He is going to shed some light on his Uber sneaks, Ty My Sneaks, you may know him as on socials. He's really got this really cool business going, and I am excited to kind of dive into exactly where this came from, where it sort of got sparked from, and yeah, so we're gonna go and get into it. So Tie My Sneaks is where people can find you on socials.
Yep.
Is Instagram your main social platform?
Yes. Instagram is definitely the main kind of outlet on all my socials. I do sell on Facebook as well, and my website is currently being built.
Cool.
But yeah, for kind of like majority of everything is done right on Instagram. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's funny because I think we talked about this the first time we chatted, but basically we had my sister-in-law and her fiance over, and they were talking about sneakers, and my husband brought you up and was like, yeah, you have to follow this guy. He's got such cool stuff. And now that I own my first pair of Nikes, I'm like addicted to following him and like watching all these pairs of sneakers come up and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, well, I'll have to look him up. I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
And then I started following you, and I was like, man, this guy's local? I thought he was like some like big guy in Toronto or something. But Tim's like, no, I think he's like right in like Trenton or something. And I was like, oh, well, this is really cool. So then
I know. Yeah. Most people think I'm like, they ask like, oh, like, do you ship? Like, are you like around the area or in Toronto? They always assume that, but
yeah,
like, no, I'm actually based out of Trenton. They're like, what? Like, and
yeah.
so yeah, that's kind of.
I think that's cool though, because like what you're doing, like you have a corridor that you kind of service, and what would that corridor be?
Like in terms of like my area that I kind of sell to, and
Yeah.
so basically, so west of here would basically be kind of like Coburg, some like Port Hope is kind of like the farthest. I've sold to people in Toronto as well, but only like a few times. I would say like Northumberland County, like Coburg, all the way to Kingston.
Right.
Sometimes
Okay.
a little bit further past Kingston, but that would be, yeah, that's the general area from. And then here, so Trenton, Belleville, Kingston, that's kind of where like
Your
90% of my sales are. Yeah.
Cool. Now,
Yeah.
I will mention that we are going to announce a cool giveaway that we're going to do at the end of the podcast, the show. So stay tuned for that. We're excited to announce that. So with that being said, what inspired you? Like, what sparked this interest in sneakers for you? Like, tell me kind of where it started. Like, did it start when you were like little and you loved shoes, or like, tell me about that?
Yeah, so definitely since I was a kid, I want to say around when I was like 10, 11 years old. So basically that's when kind of like when you start being aware of like what you wear and what other kids wear and stuff, and
Yeah, your
you kind of
style.
get that, yeah, your style and all that. And so like the popular shoe when we were that age were DCs. I don't know if you're familiar with DC.
Yes,
You might remember
yeah.
them, the skateboarding company. So everyone, like every kid, every guy had a pair of DCs. But the thing was, all we had in this area was basically it was a Sport Check, right, at the Quinte Mall, and they just had like the same like 4 or 5 pairs of DCs. So like there were so many kids like with like the same exact pair. And I was like, I don't want the same pair as all the other kids. Like I want different. I want a different pair. So I would actually, whenever my mom or dad would go to Toronto, whenever our family would go, I'd always make sure to tell them like we got to go to the mall in Toronto. Like we got to go there, and I got to get like a different pair of DCs, like a cool pair that no one else has.
Right.
So yeah, and basically that carried like all the way throughout public school. And in high school, once I started getting into Nikes, like it was the same thing. Like I never wanted to have, I didn't want anyone else to have the same pair of shoes that I did. I wanted to walk around and people be like, oh, those are so cool. Like, where'd you get those? Like, I never wanted to have the same pair of shoes as anybody else. So yeah, I've loved sneakers since I was a kid. And yeah, I got super into it early. And then in high school, I started kind of getting into it a bit more, where I would start like really going for like kind of exclusive, like unique styles. And yeah, it's just always been a thing of mine. Like I've always wanted like a cool, different pair of sneakers.
And
And
what I appreciate about that is, I guess, in our local area, you saw a problem. You saw that there is no, variety of different sneakers available to our community. So you're trying to essentially bring that back and have the opportunity for anybody, really, kids,
yeah,
adults, to have that experience where they can get those unique pairs of shoes. I know my 13-year-old, almost 13-year-old, we were on our way to ball hockey the other night, and I was like, "Do you have shorts in your bag?" "I don't think I put shorts in your bag." And he's like, "No." And I was like, "Well, we can just stop at Walmart and grab a pair." He's like, "No, I need Under Armour shorts." And I was like, "Well, for one game, you're good." And he's like, "No, we can stop at my grandmother's and we will pick up a pair of Under Armour, well, my Under Armour shorts."
yeah,
Like everything he wears has to be Under Armour. And I'm just like, "Why? I don't understand this." It's just, but
yeah.
it's the same thing, right?
Once you're loyal to a brand, like you're loyal to that brand, and like you just don't wear anything else. Like
And it's
I'm
funny.
like I'm the same way. Yeah, same
Yeah.
way. So I get it.
My
But
husband has always worn DCs since I knew him, or since I've known him, I guess.
yeah,
And we were in Texas, Dallas, Plano,
yep,
Texas, and we went shopping at the mall just to check it out. And he's like, "I really think I would like to get my first pair of Nikes." And he's like, "Apparently they're just so good." And I was like, "Well, go for it. Like, I don't care what you do." And yeah, so he ended up buying a pair of Nikes, and he's like absolutely in love with them. And he's like, "How did it take me this long to figure out these shoes? Like, this is awesome." And then that's when he started following you and stuff. And so yeah, I'm excited to see that transpire.
mm,
I know for me personally, shoes have always been an issue because I have big feet. And so that's always been a sore spot for me. When Payless was around, that was
yeah,
usually the only place that I could go that I could get somewhat nice shoes that actually fit me. I couldn't just walk into a Sports Check. I couldn't walk into basically anywhere to get shoes because they never carried 11s. And at
yeah,
one point in my life, I was a 12, but I don't know if they started changing the shoes or if they started changing the sizes. I don't know, but that's something that something that you can cater to when you have clients that have bigger feet, like we talked
oh
about a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit.
yeah, yeah. 100%. Is I try to make sure that's been like an issue for a while now. Of most stores, actually, pretty well all stores, retail stores, won't carry anything bigger than a size 10 women's. And to be honest, they only get in like a few pairs. Like when they get a like a set of shoes in the size run, they only have like a few size 10s, and it's really even hard to get anything past 9.
Mhm.
So obviously that sucks, and just kind of anyone who's bigger than a size 9 is just kind of just
Yeah.
struggling all the time to get shoes. So I always make sure that I have like a full size run of everything that I get, and
Right.
I have like a selection in every single size, like at all times. So it doesn't really matter what size you are. Like I'll have at least, like, I may not have like a ton of size 10s or a ton of 11s, 12s, but I'll have something so that
And you can,
no
sorry.
matter who messages, no worries, all good. No matter who messages me, like I have something for that person, just something for selection wise.
Right. Or you can take it on as a project, and when something new comes out, you could order
Yep.
something in that size. Yeah. So like if
Yep.
you knew that I wanted, actually the first pair I ever looked at was those, or when they were showing them, was the moo. I don't know, it was like the cow moo um themed ones. Really cool looking, actually.
Oh, the Ben and Jerry's,
Yes,
so they
that's
call
right.
those the Nike SB, the Chunky Donkeys.
Yes, yes. I
Yeah.
was like, those are actually kind of cool. I was like, there's
Yeah.
no way I'd ever get them in my size,
Yeah.
but yeah,
No,
knowing that you can get that, that's kind of cool.
yeah, you can get them in like your size a bit, for sure. Like you actually just So if you're like an 11 women's, so it's just 1.5 size differential between women's and men's. So an 11 women's, you would be a 9.5 men's. So it's still fairly easy to get your size, but in those shoes specifically, those are actually extremely like exclusive, like high end, like
Worth a
those
lot.
shoes. Yes. So those shoes are worth, depending, it kind of ranges depending on the size, but roughly around $2,000 to $3,000 is what those Chunky Donkeys cost, the Ben and Jerry special editions. Yeah,
Crazy.
it's
Okay.
crazy. They come in like this like special edition box as well, where it's like a big tub of ice cream,
Oh,
and that's
okay.
kind of the shoe box. So yeah, that's really cool. But yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
very difficult to find and get for sure.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Um, what was I going to say? So being able to do that is really cool then, because that gives, it gives you the upper hand of being able to work with so many more people when they're needing specialty sizes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With the Chunky Donkeys, what it's just sparked me to think, what is the most expensive pair that you've ever seen or sold or owned or
So most expensive pair that I own is a pair of Jordan 4 SB Pine Greens. They released last year. So they were the first like collaboration crossover between a Jordan 4 and Nike SB, which is Nike skateboarding line. So
okay.
they collabed into like a crossover line. So I got those, and those are worth. They actually won Sneaker of the Year last year. Those are worth about like almost $1,000 now.
Wow.
They weren't that price when I got them. I got them for a lot cheaper than that, thankfully. But yeah, that's about what they're worth right now. I've sold a couple pairs of them for. I think I sold them for around 600. I think at the time. I
Right.
wish I held on to them because obviously now, because they won Sneaker of the Year, they've kind of skyrocketed in price,
Right.
and they'll only appreciate more and more, especially with something like Jordan 4s. It's just every single year as time goes on, they just get worth more and more value, just like a ton of other kind of
Right.
products and consumer products like that. They just appreciate in value.
Now, do
Um,
you wear them or do you not wear them?
I do wear them, not a lot. I wore them I wore them 2 or 3 times. I think 3 times I've worn them, and that was in the first like month that I got them. I was
Right.
just I'm a big.
You have them, so why not wear them?
Yeah, I'm not like, I'm a collector for sure, but I'm also like, I'm not one of those people that just buys and collects sneakers and just stores them in like a nice like display case and just have them like sitting there. Like, I like wearing my sneakers. Like, I buy them because I want to wear, like, show them off, and I want to
Yeah,
wear them. I want to
exactly.
feel cool wearing them and all that. So that would be. I'm trying to. I'm pretty sure that's probably the most expensive pair that I've owned and sold. And then most expensive pair I've seen was at a sneaker convention. Um, this guy had the Jordan 1 collab with the designer brand Dior.
Yep.
Yeah, so they have a collaboration of Air Jordan 1s, and those are worth about 15,000. And there was some guy just like casually just like wearing them at the convention.
Wow.
And yeah, those are really cool to see, and to see someone actually like wearing them was
Yeah.
like, are you serious right now? Like, but again, I mean, practice what you preach. Like, I'm just talking about how you should always wear your sneakers, no matter the cost, no matter what the value is. And so props to him for doing that. But yeah, that was definitely the most expensive pair I've seen for sure.
Now, when they release a collaboration, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
all the terminology, but when they release these things, are there only a certain number that they release of them? Like a certain number of
Yes,
pairs, I guess?
yes, there is. Some are like, so say they're for like standard, like not like a super exclusive, but still like a very nice like colorway or style of like a Nike or Jordan, like roughly around like 1 million pairs or something like that
Oh,
that are
okay.
made. And but for those collaborations, they'll it can range depending on the collaboration, depending on the uniqueness of it and the exclusivity they're aiming for. They'll do anywhere from like, say, like up to like just 50,000, which is still like not a lot when you consider globally,
Oh,
worldwide. And then there's some pairs where there's only like 20, 30, 50 pairs made of them, like in the
oh,
whole
wow.
world. So yeah, so there's like an example of that is there's Travis Scott, who's a rapper, and he did a collaboration with PlayStation, the gaming company, and Nike all together as one made this collaboration shoe. There's only, I think, like 200 pairs in the world. They go for like $100,000, I believe right now is market for them. So
That's great.
they do limit them on the collaborations for sure.
Yeah. So with the way that you conduct what you do is you kind of make it a personalized experience. Kind of walk me through your thought process and how you interact with your clients.
Yeah, so that's kind of the service aspect of my business is kind of my niche to the business. So what I do a lot of the time with my customers and clients is so they'll message me saying, I'm looking for a new pair of shoes. I don't know exactly what I want, but I'm looking for, and then as soon as they start getting into like a bunch of different stuff that they want, I'm just like, okay, let's just, we can schedule an appointment where I just call them mobile viewings. So it's basically, they tell me what size they are, and I just go to them and bring them everything I have in stock in their size.
Right.
So I basically just load my whole car up with everything that I have in their size, go to their house usually, and just kind of run like a little mobile pop-up store. And it's like this whole personalized shopping experience that I provide for them. So they basically just come out and I just take everything out and we go through everything, and they make like I love those pile, those are maybe pile, and then I hate those pile. And then we just kind of
Right.
we slowly narrow it down to a few. And so yeah, that's kind of what I do. And then outside of that, just kind of if someone knows exactly what they want, I want this pair of shoes, you have it in my size. I'm like, yep. And then coordinate a meetup where again, most of the time I just deliver straight to their house
Right.
and kind of still create a whole personalized experience of getting the shoes delivered straight to you. And, they get to try it on to make sure it fits before they actually purchase it, and get to see it in hand just to make sure that they do like it in person, because
Yep.
that is, and kind of that whole thing is eliminating issues and challenges and obstacles that come with sneaker shopping online.
Mm-hmm.
Because you never know if the sneaker actually looks the same as it does in the pictures where it's showcased online. And
Right.
all these shoes in different brands and different models, they all fit differently. It's stupid. I hate it. I just can't. I don't like. It would be so much easier if it was like a universal thing, but it's not, unfortunately. So everything fits differently depending on the shape of your foot. One size may fit you in this brand, but it may not fit you in another brand, and that model may fit in that size, but it doesn't fit in that size that you normally are. So kind of providing that experience where I bring everything to you and I bring you multiple shoes and multiple sizes in the shoe that you want, just kind of eliminates all those obstacles when it comes to sneaker shopping.
For sure. And then they can actually walk away with the right sneaker.
Exactly. There's no like the hassle of, when you order online, you don't like it, doesn't fit right. You've got to, ship it back, pack it up, put it in a box, get a shipping label, all that, send it back, wait another 2 weeks, and then wait another week for shipping the correct size and all that. So,
yeah, definitely an extremely cool niche customized experience for sure. I've never seen anybody have something like you, and that's why I think it's so cool and wanted to kind of dive into what you're doing, because I just think it's an experience. I think that I am not into sneakers, as we talked about. I struggle with finding stuff that I actually like. Now I'm like, I want to meet with you. I want to have this experience, because maybe I will start to like shoes. It's always been such a hard pain point for me because of the size of my feet. And I'm just like, this kind of sucks. I've always hated shoes.
No, all it takes is one pair. All it takes is your first pair, and then
Yeah.
as you've seen with your husband, like it's just
Yeah.
once you get that first pair, like it's game over. Like you just become like you're a part of the game now. And
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Now, do you deal with only Nike or do you kind of have an array of different brands?
So I mostly deal like in just Nike Air Jordan. I do a bit of Adidas, some New Balance. I've dealt in kind of, yeah, I would say I've ordered and sold pretty much in every single brand or that you could think of, but only like a select few and like different and like off brands besides Nike and Jordan.
Mhm.
It's just Nike and Jordan are like they're like the iconic brands of sneaker street style, right? So
Right,
they're the ones that I know will that I can sell, and they're the ones that are kind of like the quick flip brands. So I always have those on hand. I do deal in like Adidas, New Balance, and Under Armour, all that stuff too. I just do it kind of more so by order. So if
right,
you're looking for those for any models of those brands, you just let me know. And then I kind of do those by special order instead of having them on hand. I have a few of
right,
them on hand, but not a lot. For the most part, it's just Nike and Air Jordan.
right, for
Yeah.
sure. So it's like I had just thought of something in my head and I was going to write it down, and I was like, no, I don't need to write it down. I'll just say it. Statement sneaks. It's like they're trying to make a statement with their sneakers, right? So
Yeah.
like your Uber sneaks, I just think that's so brilliant. And you want to help people make a statement with their sneakers, right?
Yeah.
So,
100%. That's kind of my goal with every person that I deal with and everyone that I sell a pair of shoes to is I want that same kind of, that feeling that I get when I'm wearing like a cool pair of sneakers or a different pair and someone's like, "Oh my God, I love those. Like, where'd you get them?" Like, I
yes.
want I want that for everyone. I
Yeah.
want everyone to experience that at some point because it feels so good and you feel like so cool when that happens to you. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just want again, like touching all the way back to earlier in the conversation when we were talking about kind of the void in sneakers here in this
Yeah.
area. Like ever since I was a kid, like, and everyone else in this area knows it too, that there's always been a huge, like, the sneaker selection in this area has been awful. It's been terrible. All we've had forever is that Sport Check in the mall, and we had the Foot Locker there before they closed down.
Right.
Um, but that Foot Locker literally had the same inventory for, I swear to God, like 20 years. Like
Yeah.
the same inventory. Like I guarantee anyone who's listening to this and in the same boat as I am can agree that you go to the mall, you go into that Foot Locker just to check it out, and you'd walk in
I'm disappointed
and
every time.
yeah, 30 seconds in, you'd be like, why did I even try? Like, why did I come in here? It's just this, it was the same stuff. So, and again, like there's tons of families and kids and parents who are kind of same situation where your kids and yeah, like basically what families like your kids would want those like different unique styles that you couldn't get here, so they'd have to go to Toronto, all the way to Toronto to get them, and or
Yeah.
go through the hassle of ordering online.
Exactly.
So I'm trying to fill the void that's been in this area for as long as anyone can remember.
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah,
I think what you've created is exactly what our community needs,
yeah,
and with a twist of personalized experience, which again adds that wow factor to what you're doing, which I think is cool. And so we're going to give away a pair of sneakers.
yes, yes,
So I'm
yeah,
excited for that. So basically, the way that you can register for the giveaway is to go to imavip.ca. Essentially, you are logging into or registering for my personal newsletter. And with that, you will be entered into the draw. If you don't want my newsletter, that's totally okay. Just unsubscribe, doesn't matter. But that will at least get you into the giveaway. And Ty will hook you up with an amazing pair of sneaks that are suited perfectly to you. We are definitely going to chat about you coming to my client Summer Bash in July. I'm excited for that too. And I think that people will be blown away. If they don't already know about you, we're going to make sure that everybody does so that they can have this really cool experience. So
yeah, 100%. I'll be there. Just let me know the
awesome.
date. I'll be there.
Awesome. Okay. All right, Ty, thank you so much. I can't wait to collaborate more with you in the future. And yeah, until the next one, we'll see you then.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for having me, Michelle. I appreciate it.